Three, two, one. Welcome to HeroQuest fans. So, hope you can all hear me. I hope everyone's doing well. We just had some nasty weather here, so I was going to run out to the store and buy more paint. You know me. But I thought, you know what, I'll wait for them to plow the roads. So I have this set up, as you can see. Originally I wasn't going to stream this whole weekend. I had some travel plans. Those travel plans were canceled. So it looks like next weekend is going to be the one where I might not get to stream because I'll be traveling, seeing family. So anyway, I just thought if anybody is on and wants to play HeroQuest, we've got the app. We can quest with you. I mean, you could watch me quest by myself. It's not as fun. Or I could work on my paints. I guess whatever people want to see. But I figure this is going to be just a more relaxed stream because I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. So as you know, on Fridays we usually do the Space Crusade thing, and then Saturdays we do the HeroQuest thing, and then every other Thursday we do the Rantcast. And pretty much it's been placed in my hands. So the Rantcast, the way that's going, we have a new YouTube channel. It's just, you can find it under The Rantcast Podcast, all as one word, The Rantcast Podcast. Not just the Rantcast, because you might find something else, but it's The Rantcast Podcast on YouTube. And that serves as a backup because everything goes live on Twitch first. It's every other Thursday, and we basically have moved into what I've been wanting to do for a while, which is a call-in show. So whoever we can get to talk, because Strange Bus has taken an understandable break from some of it. You know, if he's able to come in, that's cool, and he's always welcome. But for the most part, it's going to be my show, and whoever is joining me, you can be the co-host. And if people want to just call in with questions, that's cool too. So that's the Rantcast. We talk about media, we talk about games, not just HeroQuest and Star Wars, although those are our perennial topics. So we had a really good stream this Thursday talking about the developments in the world of Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm really, really happy for the D&D fans, even though they're all saying don't relax your guard yet, because for all we know, Hasbro's in a desperate situation. They may try to pull a fast one again. But so far, it looks like the fans have won. The fans have unleashed their feedback on the company, and the company's backed off some of their plans, which sounded like it was going to be a little greedy, a little bit underhanded, a little shady, breaking some promises from the past with allowing people to make their own homebrew like games and even profit from those homebrew games. And they were going to basically put an end to all that and just put a lot of restrictions that were going to allow them to shut people down just at the drop of a hat, which didn't sit well with a lot of people. And I think it's been rightly pointed out that there's a lot of ways a company can make money. It doesn't have to be the most underhanded, sneaky, grasping way possible. I mean, you can make money selling merchandise. You can expand, so spend your money on marketing to expand, get more people to play Dungeons & Dragons, because as everybody knows, Wizards of the Coast is under the umbrella of Hasbro. And Hasbro, I don't know this for a fact, but Hasbro seems to, when they acquire these companies, to basically let them do what they want within their own little sphere. At the same time, the buck stops with them, they allow it. So if something's profitable, they'll keep doing it. If it's perceived to be a risk, they'll back off from it. And unfortunately, I've heard about a lot of layoffs, so it's sad to hear about that. And I'm guessing it's probably not, the big wigs that make the decisions. It's like low level, like line workers, people just cashing a paycheck, working on the whatever. So it's not like someone who made a bad decision is out necessarily. So I don't know all the details. I'm not as big into the world of D&D, in fact, much at all. I mean, when I was a kid, it was the cartoon, and there were a couple toys, and I kind of vaguely had heard about it. People saying that it was like Satan's game. That was a big joke on the internet, and I never bought into that, but I just remember people saying that. Kind of like people target certain video games and say, oh, that game is, responsible for people going crazy and committing violent acts, or that music is listened to by troubled youth or whatever. Now D&D is mainstream. I mean, you got Critical Role, you've got Well, you had the one movie that came out that was kind of a flop, and then there's a new movie coming out. And if you say Dungeons and Dragons, people think, oh yeah, that thing from Stranger Things, the TV show, the Netflix show, which I'm watching now, by the way. I don't have Netflix. I haven't had Netflix in ages, but I got it from the library, and I checked it out. And it was kind of fun. And it's not 100% accurate of how things were in the 80s for middle America kids, but it is a nostalgic show, and it's clearly inspired by a lot of things. You've got your E.T., you've got your Stephen King's It in there, X-Files, Aliens. The whole psychic kids trope is used a lot in like movies and fiction and stuff from like the 80s and 90s. So it's an enjoyable show so far. I just finished watching the second season. Of course, it's only like 19 episodes in. So anyway, but yeah, people get big on these TV shows, and then it's always like they just talk it up, and it's like, oh yeah, did you see that show? And oh yeah, and people binge watch it and they just obsess over it. And then and then you hear like, oh yeah, and then the final season they screwed it up and everybody hates it now, and then they stop talking about it and it's gone. And people forget all about it, and then a new show comes out, and then that's the one they obsess over. So when I hear that kind of talk, like at work or with friends, I just kind of roll my eyes. It's like, whatever. I'm more of a movie guy. I prefer movies. But if you want to convince me to watch something, give me your personal recommendation. If I know what you like, that's what I'll go with, because I go by recommendations, not by like what critics say or how much money, makes at the box office or how well advertised it is. And I'll give a show like, I think my rule is 4 episodes. Unless they're like over an hour long. 4 episodes, if you can get me, then I'll keep watching. But I'll watch it at my own time. I don't like this binge watching thing. I did that once with The Mandalorian. Got like this massive headache, and it was not fun because I was trying to force myself to get through it because I wanted to review it, and it was just like, that was very unpleasant. So try to limit myself in my TV watching. Like 4 hours of that in a day is pushing it for me anymore, even on my days off. Now board gaming, I could go on and on. But let's see what we got for tonight. Let's see who's around. If we can play a game of Hero Quest, that would be great. If not, I've got other stuff I can do on stream to entertain you, because I'm here to entertain you and not just entertain myself. Welcome to Pete Williams on UK. I don't know if you're a bot. I assume you're a real person, but you haven't spoken to me yet, so I'm a little concerned about that. I know the UK is like 6 hours ahead, but anyway, if Polsky was here, he could tell me what's up. So yeah, on the screen you can see my plan here. So we've got the Twitch chat over here on the left, and then you can see my little Discord window here. So if somebody was in the HeroQuest fans Discord with me and was in the Quest Talk channel, we could actually have your face, or your camera I should say, because you don't have to show your face. I don't show my face. I just choose not to. We could have you share your screen or share your webcam and point it at your dice. We could actually see you roll your dice. How cool would that be? So that's my idea here. So the heroes that are playing can actually bring their own dice. I don't expect you to have your whole board set up, but you can have your dice. And then we can easily hide that window too if we need to. I'm using OBS Studio. Not a master streamer or anything, but I'm getting used to it and doing what I like. So let's see, I can just get rid of that if I want to. Let's see the screen better. And then of course in the upper right hand screen, here you see my little physical dice rolling box. So these are the HeroQuest Remake dice. So the light's a little harsh. Let's turn this other light on. Kind of a blue light. Anyway, they got the Remake dice. This is actually from the Mythic tier, so you can see they're not as good as they could be. I still prefer like the round corner dice. If you ask me, those dice they showed in that early trailer that looked maybe more like this, that's what I would have gone with. I prefer that. But anyway, I've been using them lately, and they're not too bad. And I know that other people that have the remake are using those dice, so no big deal. These are the Frozen Horror dice. I just stripped off the pips that were just plain white, and that was really sturdy paint. That was really hard to get off, but it shows the quality control over at Avalon Hill or whoever they use to create their stuff. For some reason, this light makes certain blues really pop out, like this brilliant blue. They're not that brilliant. There's kind of a standard blue, but I gave them the chrome silver pips, which I like. Just like I turned the red ones, I gave them shiny gold with my gold paint pens. I'll show you again what I used. So originally, I was using this Deco Art. That light is very harsh. Okay. This Deco Art premium gold marker. And as you can see, there's like tape on here because this cracked as I was using it. Because it got stuck. It's stuck again. I can barely open it. But yeah, I got kind of crusted over. But look how shiny that is. It's not chrome, but it's pretty darn close. It's pretty good. So anyway, you can buy this in any hobby store, just about, like your Hobby Lobby or whatever. But then I took a risk and I went online and I got these pen touch gold. And this is like even better than this. Just barely, but I like it. And it came with like a big set of these. So I've been using these for gold stuff. And yes, it is similar to these Molotow liquid chrome pens. And this is not a sponsored video, by the way. These I really like for silver. I mean, chrome silver. I get these a lot. You really need to put on a protective layer. And I've talked about this quite often about there's only one thing that's recommended online by people that doesn't dull the surface, that doesn't lose that mirror-like shine, and that's Liquitex High Gloss Varnish. So I'm going to grab that and show you what it looks like. You feel like you're painting with skim milk. It's weird, but it doesn't really get rid of the finish. Whereas if you touch it with your finger a couple times, the oil from your hand ruins it and just turns it into like dull silver or really dull gold. Just a moment. Okay, so this is the stuff I'm talking about, and no joke, when I got this was the smallest bottle they had at my local hobby store. And it was like $18. And that was before all the inflation and everything. So, yeah, I don't expect people to buy this. And I mean, these pens were like $10 a piece. Now they're like closer to $12 a piece. But if you really want to get, I mean, if you don't have the ability on your own to, bond aluminum to plastic like they did in the 80s and the 90s with those really shiny toys, this is as close as you can get. But anyway, this stuff was recommended to me. If you can find a smaller bottle, Liquitex Professional High Gloss Varnish to cover like something that you've chromed, or I suppose with this gold. This is like oil-based, and it's almost like a rubbery mixture, and that's how it retains the gold color. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of people use this stuff, this Auric Armor. Of course, these containers and a lot of the acrylic paints, I mean, I'm sad for the fact that like the stuff like either degrades or it dries out, even if you keep it in the container. I don't know if it's just like you have to shake it up constantly or what, but the stuff has a limited shelf life, so be sure you use it when you can. But yeah, I love going for the cheap craft paints, and I guess I splurge on some of these specialty items like these chrome pens and things like that. Now, of course, I also talked about these. These were $20, these Gundam markers, and I thought, this is either a huge mistake or this will be a big help to me. And they didn't quite do what I wanted because I was hoping for a really fine tip. And they've only got one really fine tip pen in this package. That's this one here. That one. And that's just like a black, really dark gray. The other ones are way too big to like try to draw like small lettering, because I was trying to do like tiny lettering on the figures. So we'll see how that goes. So this might end up being a craft stream. I'm kind of going that direction anyway tonight. Or I could play a little quest. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. It'd be nice to start into some of the Mage of the Mirror quests, but they have not added it to the companion app yet. This is 1.62. Let me just check the chat here. We've got Kata and we've got Ribby00. Welcome. Do any of you want to play some Hero Quests tonight? Any Hero Quest players tonight? Ribby, I think you've been lurking mostly. I mean, you did contribute a lot in the last stream, but what do you think? So if you go to the Discord and click on Quest Talk, I do lurk, yes. Well, I mean, it all depends. Can't commit to a quest. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Tough for me on weekends. Yeah, I hear that. Well, what are you working on right now, Ribby? If I may ask. Just chilling? Triplos is a bit too early for me. A lot of cool stuff in the painting area. So something else I wanted to highlight, which we talked about, cooking dinner and packing up Christmas stuff. Oh yeah, packing up the Christmas stuff. It seems like we're not going to do that till February. I mean, I still got my little Santa hat on my little orc avatar there. Yeah, so just something to kind of keep you going while we're listening. So I kind of went a little nuts. I got this sticky tack. Yeah, it looks like blue tack. It's actually, there's a million brands. It's Loctite, which I think they're the only company that's made super glue that's actually survived. Because usually I get some super glue, I'll open the container, I'll use a little bit of it, I'll screw the cap on super tight, and I'll put it in a bag, and I'll put it away, and then like 6 months later, I'll like go to open it up because I need it for something else, and the whole thing is like dry solid, and it's like, dang it. But the Loctite stuff is still there. Now, is it any good? Who knows? But at least it isn't dried out. But anyway, this is sticky tack. Use it for posters. So poster tack, poster putty, whatever you want to call it. It's not green stuff. But I was using this instead of glue to like kind of hold the miniatures together, because I didn't want to glue them. And it's kind of cool because, yeah, I know a lot of people use magnets and stuff. You can move the limbs around. So these figures that I've been working on, like, these are stuck together with like sticky tack, so I can go like that, and yeah, you can see a little thing in his armpit there. But then I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll have blue for the Ultramarines, and I'll have yellow for these guys, and I'll have red for the Blood Angels, because I'm working on that Space Crusade project where I'm using Warhammer miniatures to recreate Space Crusade. And of course I'm doing it because I got a bunch of them cheaply. I considered cheaply, because they were having a half off sale. I also did one of my first alien figure. So this would be like a Gene Stealer. Doesn't that look cool? I think it looks cool. So for this one, I mean, this was a pain to put together because it's not push fit. I mean, these Space Marines are supposed to be push fit, but still with the arms, like, it was hard to get the arms in there to actually stay. So I used the sticky tack with them. I mean, you got to get them in the exact pose, just looking at a picture. But yeah, with this one, I actually used hot glue. Maybe that was a big mistake, but I don't know. I just didn't want it to be permanent yet. So, and I figure it's really cheap to like redo. But the secret was I had to get the hot glue like really hot, like water. It was like dripping like water almost, as opposed to just like thick, because it would harden too quickly. Now the only problem is it did leave like little bits hanging off in the joints, but I figured you can just kind of write that off as slime or something. And actually, I can use my paint markers to like cover up, because you can paint right over the top of that glue. Of course, I mean, if you use crazy glue, or super glue, it's going to leave residue anyway. But yeah, you can see there's a little bit at the feet. So, but look how tiny that is. So, but I love the way the Xenomorph aliens look. And of course, the Gene Stealers in Space Crusade are kind of reminiscent of them. I mean, they have 4 arms and they don't have the big tail, but I think this just looks sweet as an enemy. Thought I'd listen to you guys play. Well, that's if anyone showed up. And see, I don't blame anybody, because originally I was going to be traveling this weekend, so I said no streams. And it's like, yeah, well, we'll do the rant cast. And then it was like, well, I could do an unboxing for Hero Escape, but I didn't really have like a good plan for that yet, so I just kind of like put that to the side. And I've just been working on this hobby project, so I'll go ahead and show you what I've got going. Let me just change the screen here. Okay. So here's what we've got going instead. Wow, why is that so blurry? That's a little better. Okay, so I bought a bunch of these like wooden cubes at my local hobby store, and I thought, okay, I prefer the rounded corner dice. I prefer plastic dice. And I've seen people make their own dice, and it's like, oh man, it looks like a little kid, in preschool. But I thought, you know what the heck, I'll try it. I'll give it a try. So I spray painted these, so they're little white cubes. They got a nice little simple sound to them. They're not heavy like a heavy plastic. And these haven't been varnished or anything, but I was going to make more Space Crusade dice. And these are almost the same size as the HeroQuest remake dice. Pretty close. Pretty close. So it'd be a cheap way. Now then the question is, how do you make the symbols? Well, I thought, well, I could take a pen cap, just take a pen cap and cover it in paint and then just like stick it on there. But it doesn't come off cleanly, and I don't have like a rubber stamp or anything. I mean, I could custom make one, but that would be really expensive, and it's like, why not just buy the dice at that point? I know that there's some sellers that will, or some websites where you can actually customize your dice, but usually, I mean, it's like the card problem, make playing cards. I mean, they want you to get them in bulk. It's like, well, I'm not going to do that. I just need a handful of them. So would it be worth it or not? I just have to find a seller that does it. Oh yeah, and these things, if you can find clips like this, these work really well for Space Crusade. And I have a plan. My new plan, and it's going to cost $80. So it's like, it's still cheaper than buying a new set, because I have Space Crusade, but they're just things that I want to do for it. I want to print the boards bigger with bigger squares. And there's some homebrew squares out there that are pretty cool looking. They look more modern than the 1990 game, but the idea would be I would print out the 4 boards, and they'd be actual like nice boards with like corners and everything. And I would put the walls, because they have the cardboard walls in like a cross shape. I'd put those up, and I'd use these clips to like hold it up on the sides, and you'd still have the cross piece in the center on the top and the bottom. But then you could put the boards in the corners, and you can still rotate the boards and everything. Just have to keep them from getting warped. But I would print those and then just use these, which I've got a ton of these because I have them from Cyberpunk Red Jumpstart Kit. And I also have some clear ones at home that I got for another game. I mean, it had this other game, it was like a Narnia game, and it had its own like standees that were made out of like bits of cardboard, and it was the crappiest design ever. Didn't work very well, so I thought, well, I'll just use these. And it was funny because I was looking at that game, and I remember we got it, and it was like we tried to play it, and we're like, this game is poorly designed. It was made by NECA, and of course NECA, N-E-C-A, they're famous or infamous for selling all these like nostalgic action figures. And there's a lot of videos basically just exposing their company and all its practices. And it's like they sell this stuff that it's like not meant to be taken out of the package, because as soon as you do, you realize how poor quality it actually is. It looks cool, but it's just not very good. Now, when I was doing this project with these miniatures here, I was realizing like these are kind of brittle. So no wonder people are like trying to pack them inside foam and stuff. because it's like this is not like a sturdy like HeroQuest figure where it's one solid piece and the only weak point is like the bendy sword. I mean, this whole it's like a bunch of toothpicks glued together. I mean, it looks awesome, but it's delicate. I mean, this thing is super delicate. You may have wondered how I got that effect on the shiny surface. So what I do is I take the sprues. This is my technique. I'm sure other people have done similar things. Take the sprues and I spray paint them. One side one color, one side the other color. And various conversations I've had on the Discord has shown me that it's better to use with this type of plastic, it doesn't matter. I personally don't think it matters whether you use like Rust-Oleum plastic or this Krylon stuff. But if you're using like the bendy plastic of HeroQuest Remake or like Reaper Bones, definitely better to use Krylon Fusion, for example, than this stuff. This Rust-Oleum. Notice they both say Paint Plus Primer. I've been told that's just a gimmick. That doesn't matter. I'm not a painting wizard, but anyway, they both say they're good for plastic. But like this thing, it's been like almost 2 weeks, and it's still like the bottom of it is like tacky. This is good enough, but I mean, if you were to zoom in and look closely, this is the female elf from the Mythic game system. There's like parts of her that are still like the red underneath. And no detail is lost, but I mean, if you look underneath the cape, you can see there's still some red there. And it doesn't feel as good as like the ogres that I spray painted. Let me see if I can show you a couple of those on camera. So I used this stuff, this matte blue ink. I keep wanting to call it dark blue ink, but it's matte ink blue. Matte ink blue. Krylon Fusion 5X. You can get that at like Walmart or a store like that. I'll be right back. Let me just show you. So yeah, we're just going to be doing a craft stream today, I guess, here in HeroQuest fans. So we already did our unboxing of Mage of the Mirrors. I don't need to show you my set. I've kept the male elf, the red color, but I wanted the female elf to be this kind of this color. And as you can see, it's not a perfect match for what we've got. Let me just move those figures out of the way. I don't want to break them. See, I don't worry about breaking these because these guys are resilient. I mean, you can bend them all you want. Just dip them in boiling water, put them back. But yeah, that's the female elf. As you can see, she's not the exact same color, but I thought, on camera, see, whenever I'm painting stuff, I'm thinking about what it's going to look like on camera. Like, I want the heroes to stand out from the monsters, even if they're a similar color. So I use this stuff, this satin vintage teal. I'm going to look for like a Krylon paint that's similar to this and try that. And I'll probably just strip this one off. I mean, because it looks okay on camera, but just using it, it feels like kind of sticky. And I've tried putting it under an incandescent bulb and sitting there for hours, but it's just so slow drying. And I can do better than this. Because I didn't want to paint it fully detailed. I mean, my paint project is this. I'm going to be doing the Space Crusade figures. They're actually Warhammer 40,000 Fire Team, which is a board game. I bought 3 sets of that to get the Space Marines and the Necrons. And I'm going to paint those and use them as proxies in my Space Crusade set so that I can have fun practicing painting them and so forth. But yeah, look at how these guys turned out. Now, on this light, they look brilliant blue. It's more of a dark. I guess that even looks really bright. But now you can differentiate it easily from the gray. And to me, this is what the ogres should look like. Do they survive? Let's see. Yep, it survived. Okay, so there are some little patches where you can see it faintly. There's still some gray. So I didn't do a perfect job, but I didn't want to just keep layering and layering and layering and layering. When I sprayed them the first time, I was just doing this. I should have done it like this, like that, and then like that, and like that. But anyway, lesson learned. Because I always thought spray painting figures was a bad idea. Like you were supposed to just hand brush them. Because I'd heard horror stories. Oh, it's so hard to get it out of there. But it still survived. And this has like a satiny finish. So again, good stuff. So yeah, I'm just really pleased with that. I just thought the basic gray, it just didn't look right. It needs to be like dark blue, like, oh no, an ogre! Especially if you go with the original rules where they had 10 body points instead of 5. But yeah, kudos to Avalon Hill for releasing the fixes and the playtest stuff inside the box this time. See, this comes out so easily. Look at that. So easily. Comes right out. But then these guys are like in there super hard. But that's another thing. Like if I put this figure inside the mythic box, I'd be worried this paint would like rub off like on the candy tray. Whereas this stuff this Krylon is just nice and smooth. Works really well. So anyway, let me set this all aside, put this back. And why do I paint this stuff in just solid colors? Well, because I have nostalgia for the original game, and that's how we played the original game. We didn't paint the figures, and I mean, if this were like fully painted, it's just a generic fantasy character to me. It's not like, whereas with this, it's like I can look at this and go, oh yeah, that looks like the old swordsman from the original pack. So I'm kind of all over the place here tonight, but let me just show you a few other things I've done. So again, this is not my best work. It looks like a little kid in school, but these are my Space Crusade dice. So here was me trying to use a pen cap to get like these perfect circles. Actually on camera it doesn't look that bad. I mean, it looks like a little blobby, a little spilly. That one was definitely not that good. But then I just painted on the numbers. So, and then with these, I tried to use the pen to freehand it. And as you can see, it's not the best. But I mean, you can tell. Did I roll a 0, a 1, a 2, or a 3? These are the heavy combat dice for Space Crusade. So I've got some extras. What's the advantage of these? Well, I just can make more of them. I can make as many as I want. We were talking about, well, if I was going to homebrew some dice, like something intermediate between the white dice, which have 1 and 2, and then the rest are 0, and the heavies at 1, 2, 3, and the rest is 0. Maybe doing like blue or green or something, and have them, I forget the distributions, but we talked about unyielding. But anyway, I'm working on that kind of on the side too. And it's so cold, it's hard to spray paint stuff outside. So I have a little spray box, and I'm trying to be like careful of odor and all that stuff. Let's see what else I can show you tonight. I was just gonna go ahead and work on these hobbies here. I've already shown you the fire team box. I'll be right back. Okay, well, since we're doing, essentially we're doing a craft stream now, just turned it into a craft stream. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way and I'll just show you what I'm working on instead. So I've been working on these guys for a long time. These are my Warhammer 40,000 Assault on Black Reach. I mean, 40K's game I've never played, I probably never will. But I was gifted the miniatures. And I haven't had a use for them other than practicing my painting. So, can't show the whole box in one. 40,000, yeah. Anyway, so open up the box here. Kind of a flimsy box. But yeah, I've got all these orcs. So as you can see, not a big deal. Not even a full army. But there's quite a few of them. See them a little better. So with these guys, oh yeah, that's better. They've got kind of a dark gray uniform. Is what I've been doing. And black boots, and they've got like these metallic accents. And shiny skin, and like chrome or messed up chrome guns. Some of them I've got to add more to the skin because like there aren't enough layers. Yeah, this is me learning how to paint. These guys are several months old, so I haven't worked on them in quite a while. But I basically got them to the point where it's like, okay, it's ready for the tabletop if I want to use these. Either as, like, let's say a Space Crusade faction, because you can use orcs as a faction, not just Space Marines. Or you can use them as enemies. Just say, yeah, these are the orcs you're fighting. Yeah, these teeth I could do better. I have some better brushes now, where I can actually get those fine details. It's like a brush with a tip like that, instead of like that. So, and some of these guys were already painted. They were already primed, and most of them already had the green skin, but the rest was, going to be up to me to do. So we got various guys with like bolt pistols and axes. I guess you could call those power axes if you wanted to, or just swords, blades. Some of them are supposed to have like plasma pistols, chain swords. Yeah, so I gave myself a crash course in like Warhammer lore and stuff. I guess these guys really ought to have either like red uniforms or like black and white checkerboard uniforms or camo paint, like Vietnam era camo paint. But I'm not sure at this point. I think keeping their uniform kind of generic makes it easier just to imagine. Yeah, I could do those teeth better. So I haven't had such good cameras before to really show off what they look like. Yeah, they look scary. But yeah, on camera it's like, okay, they're just going to look like that most of the time. You're just going to see a big ugly grin and a big shiny sword and gun. I mean, I could have made the guns black. I wanted them to be shiny chrome. Kind of a more sci-fi pistol look. Kind of a fancy gun. Okay, so here's like an orc knob. These are like the bigger bosses. And he's got like a metal jaw. And I guess that's a plasma pistol. The potato masher grenade. And I'm just painting with acrylics. These aren't like fancy paints or anything, but I think it looked like they were spray painted black originally. Or I guess it's probably brushed on because on this edge you can tell there's no paint there. So I had fun with that guy. It almost looks like they're wearing navy blue. Space Navy. But I figured these are like pirate orcs. I mean, yeah, I could make them look like actual pirates, but I'm liking the way they're turning out so far. Not going to win any awards for painting. I like the subtlety. A lot of this metal that I painted on, it doesn't really gleam that much, but when you got a nice bright light like that, it looks great, I think. So yeah, you can tell that's a threat right there. So you got like the smaller orcs. And they have a lot of personality. Now I like the generic orcs, you know, with the only thing different about them is the weapon in their hand, more the Hero Quest style, which Space Crusade had. There's a guy with like a long gun, like I guess that's like that could be an assault cannon. He's got some weaponry there. Now some of these guys have these little teeth hanging. These little spikes are supposed to be teeth, like the tusks of other orcs that they've collected. And it's like, okay, should those be white like teeth or should they be like metal? I'm thinking like the orcs like would coat that in like gold or silver to preserve it. Or maybe it's just like, you know, they had a gold tooth that got pulled in battle. Of course, a lot of these guys have like earrings and stuff. A lot of the details weren't painted on them. Like, again, they just had like a basic coat of black, green skin, and some of them had their guns or swords painted. Most of them did not. And then usually they just had like some white on the teeth. You know, painting can be hard, but I prettied them up over the years. There's that guy. They look pretty crude, don't they? But yeah, they kind of look like the Incredible Hulk as far as their musculature and everything. So working on these guys. And I've shown these before, but I mean, they have evolved a little bit. This guy was probably one of the most complete ones. I mean, you could tell the person that worked on this was like really putting a lot of effort into it. So I basically prettied up the axe a little bit. I added some more shiny edges. I gave him the dark blue uniform instead of just solid black. I painted some of the accents on like these boot spikes, and I guess that's a ammo canister or the clip. Some of the little tiny details. But yeah, this was the most impressive one of the bunch. And I left his gun pretty much as is because it looked really good. And it looks like he did some kind of wash on there as opposed to just like layering it on. Because most of these guys look like somebody started with a dark green and then they started adding like a light green on the raised areas, like a little bit of dry brushing, and then maybe a really bright orangey green, yellowish green on top. And so I've tried to kind of recreate that with some of them. I mean, figure every orc doesn't have to have the exact same skin tone, but some of them would be more yellow and some of them would be more green. I guess I could color that loincloth a little better. See, oh no, I guess I did do it right. Now he's got one of those teeth hanging. So I've noticed that the Space Marines in the Warhammer 40k fire team have these honor badges. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I call them honor badges because that's what they're called in Space Crusade. So like, this guy's arm fell off already. Okay, so this guy here, he's got this little like medieval style seal with like a little ribbon or a little parchment hanging from it. That'd be like an honor badge. So he won that by surviving a battle and killing a lot of the enemy or accomplishing the mission. So I figured that's what they use. And then the orcs have these little spikes. But I could color those in a different way to either make them look like, again, like gold teeth or like just like white tusks, like ivory trophies from battle. So there's another orc. But as you can see, like he's got this really bright yellow musculature on his arm, but then his hand is more green. Some of them, like their hands were black, and I couldn't tell if like the person was trying to paint gloves on them or if they just forgot to do the green. Because this is one of those projects where a bunch of people I think were working on them and having like painting parties and trying to get them done. Because painting an army takes a long time. Because it's like, okay, I'm gonna color the guns on each guy, and I'm gonna color the eyeballs on each guy, and then I'm gonna color the teeth on each guy, and then you're just like, and then you just have to take a break because it's so boring. I'll listen to podcasts and music and stuff while I'm doing them. But for a while, so I gave this guy, I was going to give him like a red armor, and actually you can still kind of see the red shining through. But I was putting silver over the top because originally I had this idea that I was going to have like two teams, kind of like a Blood Bowl type thing, like a red team and a blue team. And they were going to play like capture the flag against each other. But I kind of abandoned that idea. I mean, it's still cool. Maybe I will sometime. Hey, welcome, Jartza. Mukhtar. Oh, yeah, from Maklas, Zog, Dabu, from Warcraft and Warcraft 2. All right, let me change the title because I'm clearly not playing Hero Quest at this point. I mean, unless some people last minute want to join me. Okay, so let's say Craft Stream 2. All right, and instead of Hero Quest, let's call it Space Crusade because that's really what it is. So I'm not trying to trick anybody tonight. Not that I ever do, but... Okay, so Space Crusade related painting and craft stream is what we're really doing tonight. Because it was last minute, like I said. This guy is a Space Marine Terminator. I think it's actually, whoa, it's super bright. Considered a Deathwing guy. So you can barely see him because he's in white. But this is supposed to be like a librarian. So a psyker. And this I would use with the actual Space Crusade set. Because you notice there's a size difference with these figures over time. But yeah, welcome to the stream. So I want to show you, again, what I've been working on. So I've been working on these orcs for a while. They came partially painted. And I was adding like that little skull there. Let's turn the light back on. Ah, the light! Face only a mother could love. John Cena. Yeah. Didn't play for me that time. I think maybe I didn't have the sound alerts going, but... And his name is John Cena is the sound alert. Yep. Thanks, Ribby. Thanks for that. So yeah, when I was playing these guys, I thought, okay, they're a human-friendly faction. So these guys that have these human skulls on their armor, it's like, I hope that wasn't anybody I know. Like, I thought, okay, I'll leave those guys off and just have the other guys. There's also these, I think they're called like death copters. It kind of looks like a guy on a motorcycle, but I mean, he's got like those aviator goggles, steampunk goggles. And I've been slowly painting that. And it's like, yeah, it's supposed to have all these stickers on it and stuff, but slowly coming along with that. I don't think I'm going to use this in the game. It's just something to paint, something to practice on. Originally, I had these metallic Sharpies, and I was like, oh, this is easy. Was coloring in everything. But then I realized, like, the slightest touch and the stuff just rubs off, like, even days later. So I was like, oh, man. So I had to go back and actually paint it with metallic acrylics or chrome or whatever. Yeah, it's something to do with the sound alerts. Sorry about that. It's not that I'm backing out of the John Cena and ha, got him. But yeah, I think I just need to reinstall it because it's actually a web link that has to be active in OBS. So yeah, these guys would be on these like transparent bases, so it looks like they're hovering in the air, and they've got these helicopter blades that you're supposed to put on there, and you can remove them because they're not glued down, so it'd be just like this. Ta-da! So air vehicles. But they're supposed to be inside a Space Hulk, inside one of these modified pirate ship, abandoned ships in Space Crusade, so that doesn't quite work. It's not like they're in an open field fighting. Now again, another one I'm just practicing on is this one, the Orc War Boss. I'm really proud of this guy because I've just been working on him and like I wanted to give him like a blingy gold, audacious, ridiculous gun. And these teeth that he's got are gold. I almost thought about making his teeth gold too, but yeah, he's got a robotic eye and he's got the skull. This thing keeps breaking off, and I keep like gluing it and putting like wire down in it to try to make it stay. But yeah, he's just armed to the teeth. Or teeth. Yeah, so the orc war boss, because orcs, you know, they follow the biggest one. See, there's the boss, then there's the knob, and then there's just this regular orc. And I guess there's another one down, is like the snotling. These tiny little, like, they're smaller even than goblins. And I read conflicting things in the lore. At first I thought it's like, oh, they're the brains of the operation. It's like, no, they're just like little slaves that run around and like carry grenades or whatever. So kind of goofy. But yeah, I'm not steeped in Warhammer lore. It's just what little bit that I know from Space Crusade is enough for me, and I figure I'm going to come up with my crossover where Hero Quest and Space Crusade are both in the same adventure somehow. So anyway, that's what I've been working on there. So yeah, I got this army for free, essentially to practice on, and I've got one of these killer cans, which kind of a boring miniature, but I mean it's made of metal, and I mean, hey, I'm not going to turn it down. I don't really collect metal miniatures or anything, but there it is. Blarg! I actually have a soldering kit, and I was half thinking, well, I wonder if I could use solder to like connect these instead of using glue, because I always hear about, you know, glue falling apart, especially with metal, it being really fragile despite being, you know, steel or whatever it is. Soft white metal, they call it white metal. They haven't used lead in their stuff since 1998. So, but originally that was almost $25 for this. But I guess, you know, in the Warhammer game, everything is assigned like points, values, and everything, and you know, you kit out your army with certain things, and so here's the dice. I never use these, but yeah, Warhammer Fireteam, it comes with a bunch of these dice. I think they're slightly bigger. There's just tons of them. So now I have tons of dice. I could play Yahtzee all day. I could play backgammon all day. Because I use Hero Quest dice. I don't use those. At first I was thinking, oh, I could use this die for something. But I assume that's just like attack, move, 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 attack. Doesn't quite work. But I mean, that symbol was something more I was going for with the Space Crusade dice. But anyway. To me, Warhammer, like Fantasy Battle and 40K, it's too much. It's too much building, it's too much collecting. It's too much of a time and money sink to get somewhere where, you know, you can feel proud of it. And I realize that's like the whole hobby. It's like, it's not just playing the game and rolling dice. Like, people spend all the time like painting and like learning how to really paint like really fancy stuff. I just want to make it good enough for the table and play. And having to track down people to play, you know, in a game space or something, I'd rather just, yeah, do something like Hero Quest, where I can just sit down at the table, take the board game out of the box, play it, done, put it back. This, it feels like you'd just be spending a lot of time just waiting and hoping for the day when you can play somebody. I don't know if people play this on Tabletop Simulator, but that could be a cheap way to do it. Or Wicked Mini Paintings talks about the guy he played who just had plastic bases and nothing more. You know, he just had a bunch of these. Was like, yeah, this guy's a missile launcher. This guy, I mean, he wrote it on there. But yeah, so I'm just going to put these guys away. Talk about some other stuff. And maybe work on some other stuff. Oh yeah, this is like a big, to show you like where the bomb hit or whatever. But I use some of these smaller ones. Oh yeah, and then the rangefinder stick. Like, you can use this in Space Crusade. Like, okay, can I hit the guy? Yes, I can. You know, but you've actually got squares. You don't have to worry about, you know, terrain or wind speed or any of that stuff. I was trying to research the history of war games, and I mean, tabletop war games have been around a long time, but they really got going in the 50s. So who knows how long people were basically using like toy soldiers and rolling dice to figure out like, well, did I hit you or did I not hit you? Because you know how kids are. It's like, I hit you. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. And you're smashing your toys together. Whereas grown-ups were like, oh, I know how to solve this. We'll have, number tables and we'll have dice and it'll be like playing craps. Crap. No, when you roll your dice and the highest roller wins or whatever. So anyway, I've got these Necrons. So these will be like the androids for Space Crusade. And there were like 10 of these to a box. So I got 3 boxes. So 30 of them. And there's like a couple different designs. They're very subtle though. It's hard to put these together because originally I just snapped these out of the sprue and I started like putting them together and it's like, wait a minute. The head is just slightly different and the body is just slightly different. It's not just you have your choice of guns. You get the long gun and the short gun. But anyway, let's the camera down a little bit so you can see a little better. The details I painted, you can barely see them in real life, but on the camera they show up pretty well. So far all I've done is like little green details on the gun. And I really don't want to add too much. Where I cut the sprues, I actually used a scissors before I realized what I was doing. They're like chunks of shrapnel or damage or something. The cam takes a long time to sharpen. It does. It's an autofocus. I actually prefer autofocus because I hate having to manual focus all the time. So anyway. And then these scarab swarms. There's like 3 of these per box. But yeah, I figure I'll use these as the Gene Stealers or Soul Suckers. And as you can see, that I've got the sparkle. Oh yeah, let me show you. So the spray paint I use for these guys, and what I'm continuing to use. Yeah, trying to do everything with one camera. A little fun. This stuff. So this is Rust-Oleum. Again, back to the Rust-Oleum. But see, with this hard plastic, like this styrene, this stuff works fine for plastic. It's the bendy plastic of HeroQuest where Krylon is probably a better choice for spray. And no, I'm not buying that expensive Army Painter stuff. No, thank you. Okay, so this stuff... Gosh, it looks blue on camera. It's actually green. So the caps aren't always reliable with these paints. They'll show like a perfect chrome and it's really like just a dull color. But this is like the pink and this is the green. And I was trying to buy some blue, but then there was this big snowstorm and I thought, I don't want to go out in that right before I stream. But I was going to get some blue. But what I've been doing, I think I said this earlier. So I take the sprue and I spray it one color on one side and one on the other. And this is color shift, so it's a slight shift. So you angle it like that, and it's like gold. You can kind of see the gold, but then you go the other way, and it's like red. Whereas in this one, it's like blue. I guess almost purple. And then it's green. Now, the thing I didn't count on is when you're playing the game, you're not doing this. Woo, you're just doing this. So okay, the effect is kind of lost. But if I go down here, it does look pretty decent. And if the light hits it in the right spot, it's like, oh yeah, that looks cool. But as you can see, like his inner body then is like red. But then on the outside, it's that green or blue. But I just wanted them to be shiny and not like glittery, which is fine because they're so tiny that it's not like you see big chunks of glitter on him. But he does look kind of like fluid and wet and kind of like gooey. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to do one that's basically green on the outside, one that's blue on the outside, and one that's red. So I just need to get myself some of that blue. And if you ever go to Walmart, if you're one of those people that shops Walmart, their spray, at least around here, their spray paint section I swear it's like there's just like you can tell people have gone in there and just sprayed the spray paint everywhere. If it's kids messing around or people are just really want to know what the color looks like or they just like the fumes, but yeah, it's just a mess. And trying to find the right colors, good luck. Like the stuff on the top shelf, usually you can find it, but the other stuff is just a mess. So I was looking and looking, and they were all supposed to have blue. I think only one store had green, but everybody had pink. Couldn't find blue anywhere. I was like, darn it. So I hope I don't have to order it. I mean, because the stuff is like, if you buy it in the store, it's like $7, $10 at the most. If you go online, it's like 40, $60. Like, there's no way. No way I'm spending that much. I'll just wait until I find it. But yeah, until then, I make do. So anyway, I've got the instructions for the aliens. I don't think I'm going to be making any of those on this stream, just because watching me hot glue a mini would probably cause some people to have an aneurysm. But yeah, that's what you're dealing with. You've got these alternate heads. Snap them together. And they don't really snap. You basically have to hold them together with the glue. And then they stick to these bases, and it's so weird because you can see just the feet are on the bottom. Yeah, it takes a while to focus, doesn't it? But yeah, just the toes. So you can see I glued it there, and I wasn't sure I didn't want to spray paint the base, so I just gave him silver toes. I could have given him silver claws too, I suppose. But yeah, the aliens in the movies, I mean, they have a kind of a biomechanical quality, so they almost look like they're half made out of metal. And I started out with some clippers, just some generic clippers. Well, first I used the scissors, and those weren't the greatest. And I wasn't going to go out and buy some super expensive like hobby clippers from like a comic book store, because like I'm not going to spend that much on a tool. I think I goofed up one time and I bought a hobby saw from them, and it was just really expensive. And I thought, I don't need this. And I turned around to return it, and they're just like store credit only. And I was like, oh no. You know, and I complained, but it's like, nope, can't do it. So okay, fine. So learn my lesson. Just buy regular stuff and repurpose it. But anyway, I'll show you what I was using previously as a clippers, because I'm just learning all this stuff by the seat of my pants here. So this comes in like every tool set that I've ever had. You get one of these things. These are actually wire cutters. I was using these. I mean, these aren't super sharp or anything. I've used them to cut all kinds of stuff. Not that great. Then I found these. These are actually flush cutters. And these work really well. The only problem is, watch this. Take it out of the package and like it can't go back. There's no like hook to like close it. So it's just always like this. But as you can see, it's like really, really sharp. In fact, it's so sharp, like the plastic, it feels like Play-Doh. It just like, so make sure you're exactly right when you cut it, because you'll cut this thing to ribbons if you're not careful. But anyway, so I use this now, and it was cheap. I want to say it was like $3. Made in China, of course. But I had this, so it's like I want to use what I have first, and if I have to buy something, I'm going to buy it cheap. So that's my philosophy with all this. Because I enjoy the hobby, but I don't want it to be bank breaking. And I want to just feel like I don't have to do it all now. I can just do it whenever I want. Pick it up where I left off. So I can barely get it back in the package. And I use an X-Acto knife, but I haven't had to use this very much because the clippers do the job. Now if I get a piece that's hanging off, I'll trim it off. Anyway, working on that. And then for the Warhammer Fireteam stuff, I'm using this book. I'll show you. This is the rule book, but if you open it up, so this is the heavy metal style, you know, super painted. Like mine aren't going to look like that. That's okay. That's tabletop plus or whatever. Display, museum quality, archival quality. I got to follow these wacky designs. So I've assembled the commander. I've assembled this guy, number 3 down here. And then I have the rest to go. And as far as the Necrons go, I'm not even sure which one I assembled because I wasn't looking at this at first. I thought I could do it without that. Boy, was I wrong. It's not as easy as you think. I mean, this is supposed to be 12 plus. So anyway, that's I'm ignoring the rules of this game. I'm just using it for the miniatures essentially. But I do have all these tiles and stuff. I could figure out what I want to use those for. Maybe I could use those for something in Hero Quest. But yeah, it's really cold outside, so they've turned the heat way up. So just trying to stay cool here. So let me just look at what I've got going. So these guys look so brilliant blue on camera. And of course, when you show the bright light on it, you can see like all the mistakes that I made or all the spots that haven't finished yet. Let's see if I can get. Yeah, it's too bright. Okay, let's do what we had going before. The camera down here. Yeah, so I spent some time. I started with the commanders. And so this is the Ultramarine commander. The face was tough, as you saw in that other painting stream. It's like the crying baby. So I did like kind of a red wash on his face. You know, because it kind of looks like he's red-faced, like screaming battle cries and barking orders to his men. And at first I thought, oh, he has a mohawk haircut, which you could do, but he's actually more of a half helmet. Hey, CEO Happy. Thanks. I appreciate that. Saying I'm doing a good job. So there's the chain sword, and so I just painted a little bit of detail in there, so that's just metallic. And then see, it wants to focus on stuff that's far away. It's autofocus. I'm not criticizing these cameras. I got a great deal on them. And thanks to the guy who sold them to me. Okay, so there's the shiny gold details. So I can adjust this light over here. And then the honor badge. And he's got his helmet. Put your helmet on, buddy. You need it. But yeah, you can easily identify the commander because he's not wearing the helmet. And then he's got this plasma pistol here. And he's got a robot arm. So yeah, as you're painting, you're like, oh, I didn't notice that detail. I should probably paint that. I should probably paint that differently than I painted everything else. But yeah, this stuff is Rust-Oleum Deep Blue, and it feels really good. Like, I could just, like, rub it. It's like, oh, it's just like metal almost. It's so glossy and shiny. Why would they run into battle with super shiny armor? Well, they just do. And I think most people, when they paint this stuff, they try to, like, ding it up and make it look beat up. I think just when I miss a spot or don't put the paint on quite right, or it gets, you know, naturally dinged up from handling, that's good enough for me. I don't need to make fake damage to make it look used. I didn't put a lot of washes or anything on it except for the face. So I like it super shiny like that. It's like they polished up their armor before they went into battle. You know, except for any injuries they sustained in the field. And so this is one of the... Now, this squad doesn't have, like, rocket launchers and all these other fancy weapons. So if you played this in Space Crusade and you played it based on, like, what they're carrying, like, okay, so that they would have bolt guns or bolters. They're supposed to be heavy bolt pistols. I don't know what that means. And chain swords. So I figure it could be either 2 white dice to fire, or a white die and a red die to fire, and then a white die and a red die for melee combat, hand to hand. And he's got the honor badge on his leg there. So, and yeah, there's the blue sticky tack. It's like little padding, like, oh yeah, hit him right there. That's his weak spot. And with the eyes, I mean, I just splashed the paint on and then wiped it off with my finger. Worked good enough. And I used the gold pens for the emblem. But yeah, originally these were like blue plastic sprues, so you could have done it unpainted. But I thought, okay, so I'll spray paint some of them yellow and some of them red. So instead of the Ultramarines, I can have the Imperial Fists. Let's get this guy. So with this guy, I mean, he's got the darker skin, so I was trying to get like the teeth and the tongue without making him look like a clown. I had the same problem with the other figures too, but when it's lighter, it's like just a little bit easier to work with. But if you know, I eventually did it, and I think it looks pretty good. It reminds me of like Bumblebee or like construction equipment, you know, safety vehicles that have that bright yellow. And with the spray, I mean, there was some overspray from some black, and this guy looks like his armor's dirtied up a little bit. So you kind of got that effect naturally. I didn't have to, or by accident, I didn't have to do it purposely. But I did color a couple spots with like a shiny gold. Not the gold pen, but so this is Retributor armor. That's a Citadel paint on his chainsword. Because originally I wanted to spray paint these guys' weapons like shiny black. So I got this gloss, like high gloss black, and I covered up every part of the sprue except for the weapons, and I spray painted it black. And it didn't turn out that great. And it got overspray on some of the other pieces, kind of annoyed me, so that was a failure. So on the other side is just plain yellow. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just gold on one side, and that's just how he does it. This stuff is like metallic red. That's out of focus again. I think I might have turned autofocus off. There we go, that's better. But yeah, originally the details looked green because the plastic underneath is blue. But after a second coat, it was more black or gray. So I think it does the job. But you can see there's little parts, like the inside of his helmet is like gold because it got black overspray and I colored it in. Now I'd like to put, see there's white sticky tack for the arms because I can, you know, change the pose. Sword's supposed to be up in the air, but you can also put it straight out. Or you could do it to his side. Of course, then you see the peg and everything. So, but they hold their places very well. Pretty well. So it's like up, up, and away! Dynamic pose. Superman pose. Let's see, what else we got? So these are the... These I was the most impressed with. These are the Blood Angels. And look how shiny that Colonial Red Rust-Oleum. I mean, it's super shiny, super glossy. And I love it. Like, that's what I wanted. That was the effect that I wanted. And the others didn't quite turn out that way. I mean, the yellow, this is like ultra matte, or not ultra matte, ultra gloss Rust-Oleum ginger yellow. And that was the only yellow they had in store. So that's what I got. I could have gotten like safety yellow or like a school bus yellow, but I don't know. I live with it now. But this stuff was just really, really good. This Colonial Red. And I've seen like different interpretations, like different fans. I'm not saying I have to copy someone else's style, but certain fans will do like a dark gray for the details, and others did like silver. Some people did like, I don't know, yellow or gold. But I just thought, okay, some people leave the shoulder patches like plain. And I'll just do that too. And I'll just put silver there. Let's see. I know I'm just showing off what I worked on, but I mean, I put a lot of time into these, so I'm learning. And I'm coming up with something that I think looks good. Looks good to me, anyway. Okay, I think I just made it worse. Yeah, so his gun... Oh, it's got a big shiny thing. Well, it's a plasma gun. Who knows? Maybe the aperture on the end is shiny. It's not like a black void. But yeah, there he's got the helmet. And I debated what to do with the eyes on the helmets, because when I paint them red, it's like you can't even tell on camera that they're painted red. I guess I could have made them gold or yellow or something. But then he's got the honor badge. Should the honor badge have been a different color? But I thought, no, the seal is still red. the teeth on the chain sword. So anyway, got those guys. So the 3 commanders, and then I've slowly started doing the other troops. So I kind of do the same type of each one. And yeah, the heads can kind of turn a little bit. I guess that guy's head can't, but because it's just wedged in there. Oh, there you can see the eyes. So he's got his sword. Now this guy, you can see there's like a dark band on there because in the light, you could see, there you can see the blue shining through. So I use the Gundam pen to cover that up. But I want to show you something here. Let me get my black light. So I found out with these Gundam markers, the red pen and only the red pen has like a phosphorescing effect under a black light. So you can see all the spots where I touched it up using the pen. Let me go get that. I'll be right back. Just grabbed a beverage there too. Cheers, Dead Gamer. Yeah, it's really dry here. Okay, so let's turn off some of these lights so I can show you what I mean. Is it going to show up? My human eyes can see it, but as opposed to my inhuman eyes, but you can't tell. Never mind. But yeah, as I'm shining this on here, the camera isn't able to detect it, but on the top of his backpack, there's 3 points where the sprue cuts were, and they're just glowing like bright red. And then on his elbow and on his holster, there's a couple spots. And then on his sword. I mean, I could do it on purpose and just, oh, and I guess on his belt. But yeah, this just looks purple. So, never mind. But I guess if you wanted to play a game in the dark, I don't know if this black light, this is an LED black light flashlight, if that would, I don't know, dim the paint or damage it, because it's supposed to be like sunlight. It's ultraviolet. So it might not be good for it long term. I mean, would it give you a tan? I don't know. But anyway, so I'm working on these, and then here's the only other figure that I've got done from the Space Marines. This guy here. Focus. I want to see some of that fine detail. If I just, my hand takes up the whole screen. See, that chainsword gets in the way. Thanks, Ribby. Thanks for your support. Yeah, so these are supposed to be assault intercessors. So they're not Terminators or whatever if you're a big Warhammer lore. Oh no, his arm! His arm is injured. Ah, he lost his arm. There you can see the original blue. These pins, I had to shave them with an X-Acto blade because the paint, the spray paint that was on there actually made it so that the pegs wouldn't fit. Believe it or not. Like 2 layers was enough to make it not fit. But anyway, these bases are 32 millimeters supposedly. So that's quite a bit bigger. I mean, the base on this guy, on these Gale Force 9 Xenomorph Alien Warriors, these are more like Games Workshop, or look at that. Same size as the HeroQuest remake, so 1-inch bases. Whereas these are quite a bit bigger. Like it can just sit in there like a checker. But let me do some comparisons for you. So this is the 1990 Space Crusade Android, or Necron, and I'm not going to paint these. And there's various examples of paint jobs on the box. I just made it worse. Come on, focus. Now my other camera, my document camera, focuses like instantly. This is a really good camera. So there's the comparison. So you see they've got the bayonet on the end. This guy, it's like an axe on the end. So pretty similar, but you know, this is just like one solid piece. You just snap it into the base. Other comparisons, let's see, we've got Ultramarines here, or GSG 19. Let's just grab a guy and we'll just give him a weapon, because the weapons were detachable. I liked that. Okay. Oh, let's just give him the bolter, so that it'll be something equivalent in power. If I can find a bolter. Oh, here's a guy. Okay. So there's a Ultramarine. Wow, look how bright it is. It's super bright. So yeah, that's an Ultramarine from 1990. And so if we compare him, I got the paint a pretty close match. The original plastic was more purple. And yeah, he's like more than a head taller. But he still looks pretty cool, and he doesn't look as different. I mean, you can see the little grill on the mask is different. So I guess it's like a different generation of armor or whatever, different design. But you know, 2019, 1990. That's what you got. Hey, Ribby, thank you for the Prime subscription. I didn't see that. Yeah, if you guys have Amazon Prime, you can use that to subscribe, and I appreciate using it for me. I mean, you could have used it for anyone. So thanks for your support. Woo! Like Ric Flair. Woo! Oh, yeah! That's Randy Savage. So there's your Imperial Fist. Soldier. Let's turn some of those lights down. There we go. To try to see the detail. Slowly coming into focus. There it is. Yeah, so there's your yellow guy. So Brother Love meme today, it made me laugh. I love you. Yeah, Brother Love, the first manager for The Undertaker before he was replaced by Paul. What's your last name, Paul? Bearer. Brother Bearer? Or was it Bearer? What's their first name? Paul. Paul Bearer. He had his own, oh yes. He's passed away now. But anyway, yeah, The Undertaker, Paul Bearer, Brother Love. Okay, so we'll compare these two here. Obviously, this is a brilliant yellow. This is more of a dull yellow. So, still, I don't feel like redoing these guys completely or trying to snag another copy, which I'm not going to get for 50% off today, I guarantee it. Yeah, it'd be nice if he was that bright, but then what would it look like on camera? So, I'm okay with that. I've come to peace with it, come to terms with it. And if we compare, I mean, it was the only red that they had, or I mean the only yellow that they had at the store. Let's get some Blood Angels here. Compare a Blood Angel. Oh wait, that's the Commander. That's the one that I broke the backpack off of. I felt so bad. I was like, no. It was really stuck in there, and I was trying to remove it, and the peg just broke right off. These have been, they've seen better days, and the pegs only go in one way. So there's the Blood Angel, and we'll compare him to, he lost an arm, oh no. Pretty close. A little bit darker red. I was trying to go for that blood red, like ketchup color. Oh yeah, this was the guy that I just stuck it on there. Something about the texture of this paint. It's like thick enough on the pegs that it can almost stay on there on its own. Classic. Yeah, I'll have to look up that Brother Love meme. Yeah, classic WWF. Yeah, we weren't allowed to watch wrestling because it was too violent for us kids. But I mean, there used to be a rule to watch a wrestling show. It was like 14 and up. Like kids couldn't watch it. But then they started marketing it to kids. You know, Hulk Hogan cartoons and um, Andre the Giant and the Princess Bride, and doing commercials. Macho Man Randy Savage doing Slim Jim and all that stuff. So kids couldn't help hearing about them. I mean, they were like superheroes. You just see them everywhere, even if you didn't watch wrestling. But occasionally, I would catch a little bit of wrestling at like a friend's house or something. Now, even if we had never seen that, we would know who they were from like video games and stuff, because it was always like, yeah, you just jump in and it was like they're not doing much wrestling. They're mostly just fighting. They're mostly just punching each other and hitting each other with chairs. They're not really wrestling. But I was a little kid, so that was my impression. But I can appreciate it a lot more now, just for just the stunt work they did, and the guy crying and all that stuff. Yeah, certainly appreciate the art, the work they put into it. Now, as the business, it seems pretty sleazy, or at least it has been historically. So that part of it isn't very good. And certainly, you hear about bad things in wrestling, just like you do in professional sports. Drug use and early deaths and people just doing stupid stuff. Not just wrestlers, but managers and owners too. I think I already showed you the Dreadnought. Excuse me. So let's see, what else is there to do? So I guess the rest of the stream, I think if anybody had any questions for me, feel free. But I was just going to work on these and just try to get some more done, some more assembled, because really the assembly is pretty much all that's left. I mean, yes, as I cut them out of the sprues, there's little places I need to touch up, or I discover, I missed this or that. I was really reluctant to get these aliens started just because they were so small. I mean, I had no idea how small they were when I got them. Just very spindly, very fragile feeling, even though they're made out of the same plastic as the others. But I mean, compared to this is a big chunky figure. I mean, the weakness is this part right here. It keeps breaking off, and I suppose these, but I mean, they're pretty strong in there. But yeah, we were having a stream, and Carmine was talking about, or not a stream, a Discord discussion on the HeroQuest fans Discord. And then Carmine was saying, well, it's more likely that Space Crusade would come back than HeroScape. And I thought, yeah, but they tried to bring HeroScape back. They had the pledge drive on Hasbro Pulse and everything. So, and he spoke glowingly about Games Workshop. So for all those people who were doubting, who were saying, oh, Games Workshop and Hasbro, they're rivals, they're enemies. I mean, I guess in a sense they're competitors, but they worked together in the past, in the recent past. I mean, think about Warhammer 40,000 Risk. That couldn't have happened without Hasbro agreeing to it. And I mean, Warhammer Quest is still selling. So there's all these possibilities, and I for one would love to see Space Crusade return in some form or fashion. Because this Fireteam stuff, not even close to like the game in a box, easily assembled, easily played. And yes, if you want to jump over into Warhammer 40k Fantasy Battle or Space Hulk or something else, you can. Everything's compatible. But it could be a case of, yeah, like Hasbro releasing it and they'd have to call it something else. They'd have to rename everything to disengage from the Warhammer lore. But if they work together with Games Workshop, just like they did in the 90s, They could just call it Space Crusade, and it could be everything that you dream. And how cool would that be to have it back on store shelves? Like, I would love that. And I mean, they wouldn't even have to enhance anything, although they could easily. That would just be so awesome to have it back. And that's another game that Stephen Baker helped design. So there you go. But yeah, it's the possibility of it coming back. I mean, he didn't guarantee it, but he said quite clearly that they have stuff planned up through 2026. And that's great, because for all I knew, they were just going to end it after they completed Mage of the Mirror. And it's like, okay, yeah, they're going to do Rise of the Dread Moon after that. But then what? Is it just going to stop? I mean, Hasbro just laid off a bunch of people. So is HeroQuest in danger? It's like, nope, don't have to worry. Like, okay. So their department wasn't affected. That's great to hear. Now, I do also remember before we got Mage of the Mirror, they got us all talking about other stuff, and they distracted us for a while. And then Rise of the Dread Moon, they were getting us to talk about other stuff and got us distracted for a while. So what would be the next thing? Okay, so they basically all but confirmed that other than Rise of the Dread Moon, they are doing the European packs. So what else could that mean but against the Ogre Horde and Wizards of Morkar, or Wizards of Zargon, as they might call it, are going to be re-released and remade. And the Dwarf and the Wizard, Tuesday Gamer, quest packs will probably be finished and released. But then what? What else is there? I don't know. My thought was they could work with Games Workshop, and maybe Games Workshop could release. I mean, they've been doing Warhammer Quest. They could do a nostalgic, like, Warhammer Quest, Advanced Hero Quest Edition, Anniversary Edition. You know, they could do something like that, and it wouldn't just be a bunch of cardboard in a box. It would actually be like everything that you expect it to be. You know, all the pieces, all the miniatures, and then the rules, so that you could jump back and forth between that and HeroQuest if you wanted, or you could dive right into Warhammer Quest if you wanted. Wizards of More. What about Wizards of Grimdead? Yeah, see, the Japanese version. I guess, I mean, there was no answer to that question. What about the Japanese version? Is it going to come back? Maybe Japan has just moved on, and maybe HeroQuest wasn't that big to begin with. But I just love the differences. I loved the little interesting character about it. And I thought, if there's fans in Japan who are grown up, who would be nostalgic about it, would they buy it again? You know? Because I think for now, if you try to get HeroQuest in Japan, you're just getting, like, you know, a version from some other country. It's not in Japanese, I don't think. Might even be in English. I mean, there's a lot of people in Japan that speak English. So, all right. Hope I'm not running out of steam here. But I will have to end the stream at 10 for sure. But let's try and finish up. Let's try and finish up another one of these Marines, because I made so much progress. I hate to just kind of stop now. Just got a message here. Just check. Just getting an update. Yeah, some family members have been sick, so just checking on them. Anyway, I mean, I think things are getting better. Okay, so let's see. I've kind of been doing this in order. So I think I will just do some of these. I think are alternates. Like, they don't tell you, but this gun here and this sword here, like, you could have one of the figures have, like, where is it? The beckoning hand. Like this hand here. Actually, maybe I'll do the red ones because they're just easier to see on camera, just for your entertainment value. So let's see. Yeah, so it sounds like the future of HeroQuest is in good hands. Sorry, it's getting dry in here. Just pop a throat lozenge here. Should be fine. Okay. So I'm just going to be following the instructions. This part may not be that interesting, so unless you're just trying to watch me, I'm not going to do any water decals today. You're going to have to watch me fail spectacularly on those. Let's get some Carl Casey at White Bat Audio going. I like the Alexander Nakarada Royalty Fury music, but we're not playing HeroQuest, so I can shut that off. White Bat Audio on YouTube. Actually, I have 2, 1, and we're live. Whoops. I have a playlist for this specific type of stuff. There, I think that'll be good. Okay, volume way up. I think that's going to be all right. I run a humidifier all winter or I'll choke. Well, the thing about humidifiers is you need to be able to like keep them going, and you also need to keep them clean, because I hear that can be bad if you're throwing like mold or mildew into the air too. But yeah, I know what you mean. So yeah, I just use lozenges. I did have some pots of water going, but I'm kind of worried about, like, I don't know, mice or bugs or mold again. I don't know. I guess you just do what works. Okay, so I got these going. So let's see what we've got here. Just move some of the stuff out of the way that I don't need at the moment. So I got my little glass of water, not to drink. I got my brushes, cheap brushes. Got my clippers. Got my Gundam paints. And that should be all I need, really. And my sticky tack. Well, I got the blue sticky tack. I should get the white sticky tack for these red guys. I don't have any red sticky tack yet. Let me just go get the white. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I got big filters I got to change out. Yeah, that's really important to keep those clean. Okay, so I do have some sticky tack or poster tack in white. I was gonna say around my house we'd always say, "Isn't that something?" Like when you can't find something, it's "Isn't that something?" Oh yeah, I forgot. I've got some of this. It's like kind of a greenish color. So yeah, it's just poster putty. You know, you get tons of this stuff, and it's like, what will you ever need it for? Do you have that many posters? But just break some off. It's pretty easy. But yeah, I may have to go online to get the other colors. I don't know, maybe I could like mix it with some ink or something so it would change color. But then I was worried, well, but would it transfer to the plastic or get, leach out of it or something? So, okay, so this is number 2. So we're going to be doing this guy here. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I need 23 and 24. Let's see, where are we? Oh, 23 is down there. Starting to get the hang of it. Now I can say I know what the hobby's like. I mean, are these any harder than the ones that people use with the big armies? There's 24. Now these heads come off pretty easily. That sounded psychotic. Okay. And the pieces tend to go flying, so you gotta be real ginger when you cut them. So there's the little blue plastic underneath. Oh no, he lost his head. Now, where they really gave me a problem is with the alien pieces. I mean, I was just searching everywhere because I drop them on the floor, and I thought with a sparkly paint they'd be easy to see, and that did help. But yeah, I was chasing after alien parts as they'd go flying because when you snip them off, they just go flying. They go flying. I tell you, they go flying. Okay, so I got 23 as the body right here. So this is obviously the leg piece. Just try to snip it off as cleanly as you can. It's like you can look at the picture, but it's in 2 dimensions, and sometimes you got to flip it over to cut it just right. Okay, so you can see there's like little blue spots, but it's not that big a deal. Oh, it looks so good. I don't know, just something about a nice fresh coat of paint in a bright color just puts me in a good mood. It's like potential is what you see. Because I want to use these to play a game. I'm not just going to admire them, but I feel like I did a good job. I mean, for me, starting from nothing on these. Okay, so there's 22 as the leg. Can I get it easier on this side? It's almost angled well enough that you can paint it easier this way. Okay. It's like I don't want to take a chunk out of it. I just want to cut it as flush as I can. It's weird just having his leg like that, but okay. Okay, so that goes into the chest. So the chest piece is 21. Okay, it's right there. And they put the sprue pegs, or the whatever you call the cutoff points, in pretty good spots most of the time, where it's not going to stand out. It's going to be just at the edge, at the end. That's right the first time. These are sharp enough it'll cut right through everything. Okay, so these pegs right here that you're seeing, those inner pegs, those need to be shaved with this blade here. I guess you could use like a sanding stick, but that paint is so thick that it won't even connect. Like you'll just be pushing and pushing and pushing, afraid you're gonna break it. So I'm like shaving it off. Yeah, I should be talking like Bob Ross. Like, yeah, it's just a happy little accident. You just shave that there, give him a nice clean shave, and yeah, it's really good. Yes, my friend. We're just gonna shave that like that. Perfect. That man was a legend. Getting the edges are tougher. I mean, less is more. I guess I'm shaving off the paint, but some of the plastic is coming off too, so I don't want to. This thing is really sharp. I don't want to do more than I have to. Okay, so there's the chest piece. And see, I'm doing it the opposite way a lot of people do. A lot of people, they cut it out, they glue it, super glue it together, then they start painting. Or they'll like airbrush it or rattle can it like black and then white, and then they'll start painting in the big areas, and then they use washes to cover it all. I wanted to try it this way, even though that's the way they say to do it. Just my own crazy stunt. Okay, next 22. I already got the leg. Sweep the leg, and I'm also going to need backpack number 27. Okay, that's that one there. Okay, that was pretty easy. But you see, it's got those little points that I'm going to need to color in. And we've got gun hand 26. There it is. And I wanted the guns to be black. I mean, I could have made them like silver or gold or something. That's fine for the orcs, but for these guys, I was okay having it what it was. It's not going to be a clean cut. Twist it right off. Okay. Yeah, that little piece on the bottom. I was careful not to have the knife slip and do damage. You can see there's like some blue that I missed there. Actually, I can almost just nip it off. Just use my finger to... You can use your fingernail to like get it off. Yeah, it's gonna look like he just had a little like a bullet ricocheted off or something. Yeah, so thanks for joining us in HeroQuest fans. If you're just joining us, we're doing painting and craft stream for my Space Crusade proxy. Now you might think, gee, you don't even have Space Crusade. No, I've got it. I've got the whole game. Got a great deal on it from Board Games Maker. Not Board Games Maker. Board Game Geek. Even when I type it out, I get it wrong. Board Games Maker is where you can have your own like pieces custom made. That's a good service. I use it too. But Board Game Geek, they have a geek market where it's other fans selling products, and you can buy board games. Like, so you look up Space Crusade, you look up Find a Copy, and if you go to the Amazon thing, they put the affiliate thing. Just ignore that. Don't even do it. Don't go to eBay. Go to Geek Market, and you can just message the person like, "Hey, I saw you selling the Space Crusade. Is it still for sale?" They'll message you back and say, "Yeah, it's this amount. Can you show me some more pictures?" Yes. I mean, the communication is great. Some of the people don't respond. It's like, okay, they put up the listing 2 years ago. Maybe, they're not even, I mean, you wouldn't even know if they're alive anymore or not even selling it. But yeah, the people I talked to are very courteous, very helpful. Got some really great deals. I mean, way better prices than you find on like eBay. So that's my little plug, my little free plug, not a sponsored or endorsed thing. And if there's more to say, you can just, in this is YouTube, you can put it on the comments because it's not live. It's only live on Twitch. Cheers, dead gamer. Okay, so back to the project. Okay, and I need sword hand number 25. 25. Oh, here it is. So welcome to Henchia-chan, Dynaterra, Jarza Kata, Pete Williams on UK. If any of you are bots, I'll have to ban you later. But for now, I'm just enjoying myself working on this little project here. So sword. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, sword arm 25. Okay. So we're gonna have a little divot there. Yeah, with Hero Quest, the sprues, I mean, they just twisted off at the base. So it's pretty easy, pretty clean. They were trying to make it as simple as possible for like a 10-year-old kid to just open up the box, get it going like pretty quickly, pretty straightforward. You didn't need any special tools, no glue or anything. You could just get gaming. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Gundam marker out. People like those effects, so you got to do that for them. Okay, so looks like it's pretty well mixed. And I'm just going to take the little blues, the obvious blue spots, and just kind of color them up. And this will add a phosphorescent quality to it. It's not a perfect match for the color, but it's close enough. It's inconspicuous enough as it is, but I just like the fact that it's not just this blue spot. I mean, yes, you could sand it off and everything. And there's some blue underneath, but you could just say that's just a shadow or something. So that one's done. And this one is just in the little armpit area. Stuff is water-based. It dries pretty quickly, but if you rub it with your hand, you can just wipe it right off. Which is a good thing if you make a mistake. I mean, it's supposed to be like, you're supposed to be like outlining and drawing lines on your Gundam. This is unnecessary, but I'm just gonna color it over. Just say I did it. Getting it all over my hands. Yeah, because there's blue inside a couple of the areas that weren't reached by the spray can. The rattle can, as they call it. Let's do this one. Could paint that under the arm, I suppose. You know what, I'm not even going to worry about it. Let's do the leg. Yeah, a little Space Marine leg there. That looks good. Do the head too, just for fun. Yeah, you could color the whole thing with this and make him glow under black light if you wanted. The backpack. Basically anything that's just like really bright white or bright blue, cover over. With the backpacks, I haven't had to shave the pegs. They fit in pretty well because I guess it's pretty shallow. This is kind of silly, but let's do the arm tips too. Oh, that's the leg spot. Actually, that one I may want to trim slightly. I just want to be careful because I don't want to expose a lot of blue. I'm just gonna cut the end off of it there. See if it actually fits. Because the red, like I was saying, the red doesn't seem to need as much trim. Oh, I left a blue line. You know what? Let's see what it looks like when it's finished. Okay. So I trimmed those. So I take the two pieces of the torso and kind of like put them together. This is where you see grown men cursing. I'm not going to do it. Keep it a family-friendly stream. This isn't the Rancast. So you put the head in there too. Just line up the pegs in the peg holes. He's like, oh no, the bees! Oh no! No, but he's wearing a mask, so you can't tell what his emotions are. Oh. It needs to be shaved a little bit more. Okay. Without breaking it, if I can get it open again. Crack him open like a lobster. You know what? Just commit to it. There. It's not quite perfect. Okay, is his head turned to the side? Yes, it is. It's turned to the left. I'm also trying not to press against the chest too much. It's hard to get rid of those gaps. I know they sell like gap filler. Good enough. Just a hole in the armor. Wait, how is that leg supposed to go in? Like this? Oh, his leg is like raised. Not like he's gonna take a leak, but like a dog. Finding the correct angle for it is kind of a challenge. It's kind of odd. High stepping. Yeah, this guy you can see more blue, but viewed from above, the only thing is going to be on his neck. I may have to add some actual red paint to that. For now, I'm just going to stick to assembly. And I'm trying not to like press on one loose piece while I'm entering the other loose piece. The backpack, I always kind of line it up. The body. That leg is going to be a problem. They just insisted on these dynamic poses. I guess that's how it's supposed to go. Alright, I should probably throw him on a base here before I get too carried away. Yeah, he looks like a dog taking a leak. This is weird. Is this really how he's supposed to look? That can't be right. Can it? That's bizarre looking. That does not look like the picture. But there's only one way for it to go, unless... That? No. Okay, well I'll just keep setting up and see what happens. So, okay, so got the gun. I've been doing number 2. Don't read too much into that. Okay. Oh yeah, this one I was going to color the edge of the gun barrel instead of being brilliant blue. Just going to use this. Maybe dulling that. I don't mean to dull that point. Let's try some of this. This is kind of a dark metallic gray. Black would be ideal. There, sufficiently darkened. Yeah, this guy looks like he's trying to matrix out of the way of something, or he's like keeling over. He's getting shot and he's falling down. See, the way they portray him in the picture, it doesn't look anything like that. Just look at the book here. Consult the illustrations. That's what he's supposed to look like, that guy there. He's like lunging forward. This guy looks like he's like, ah! Like his whole body is like twisted the wrong way. It's like he should be launching off. No, he's launching off the correct foot. It just, yeah, that must be one of those models that changed. Like when they were creating it versus the final version. Even if I snapped those pieces in like perfectly snugly, it still wouldn't quite look right. I mean, he's like just lunging for it. It's like he's doing the Superman takeoff punch. Okay, and so his sword is supposed to be pointed forward. Oh, that just snapped right on there. That was easy. Like gravity holds it on. Well, anyway, there he is. Done. But the way they took the picture is weird. I mean, let's see if he looks anything like that. Yeah, I haven't applied any sticky tack at all for these. Time to do the sticky tack. All right, so what I've been doing is this. I'll take the piece of sticky tack and I'll just kind of like roll it into like a little snake. Wrap it around the peg. Because before I was putting it on the tip of the peg, but then it just really packs it in there. Like tamps it down. Makes it really hard to get it out again. Because eventually you're going to get it out and redo it or use something else. So you can just kind of, it's like Play-Doh. But yeah, once I've got the red stuff, it'll work a little better. Because I don't want to glue it. I absolutely do not want to glue it. Yeah, I probably used too much. That's okay. I'm going to redo it later anyway. Using the red sticky tack once I get my hands on some of that. Some of the stuff you see online, it's actually like pink. But at least it'll go with it a little bit better. They actually have black, and as you know, black goes with everything. But it seems to be much stronger, and actually the reviews said that it was more of a dark gray. So it's not even black. There. I mean, it looks cool, but it's just a weird pose. It's like they ran out of poses. They're just like, yeah, this guy. I'm sure at the right angle he looks awesome, but he just looks alright. Okay, what other trouble can we get into? I could try doing another blue one. Yeah, I'll do number 2 as blue. See if I can have any better luck with these. Because these, I know I didn't have to paint them as much because they're already blue. So it's kind of just like one pass, more or less. Okay, start again. So body 23. Now, if I cut it off and the end is like white, I can use the blue Gundam marker. So even there, it's a nice thing to have. So there it looks pretty decent. But I mean that like white. Yeah, see on camera you can't even tell. Why bother? Okay. So that's good. Okay, let's speed this up. Head 24. 21 and 22. It's pretty clean. Backpack 27. Gun hand 25. Or gun hand 26, sword 25. Gray marker for the gun barrel, or the gun aperture. Blue. It's fun. Getting all these little pieces in order. Yeah, I'm liking this Carl Casey music. So again, you find his work on YouTube. It's probably not even necessary, but did it anyway. As long as I had the marker out. Because, you know, you never know when you're going to get these out again. Maybe all dried up by the time you come back to it. So, need the sword. Chainsaw sword. Kind of a silly weapon, but an over-the-top, fun sci-fi weapon too. Just the perfect thing for cutting up robots. Well, and I was thinking you could even do the non-lethal version. It's like the chain sword or the vibroblade or whatever is to open up breaches in the armor so that you can hit them with pepper balls and disable them so that you can arrest them or send them into a parallel dimension where they're not going to hurt anybody. Okay. Should be ready for assembly now. Let's see, do I try putting them on this base first? Nah. I'll do this just like I did before. They say you're supposed to do it in this order. Maybe a little bit easier. Now I have not shaved the pegs, but we'll see if I can do it without shaving them, maybe. Not the bees, the bees. Oh, I snapped his head in there. Just trying to... Yeah, it went in pretty easily. Okay, where's... Oh, the leg. Forgot the leg. Sweep the leg! Alright, 22. There's that little bitty... piece there. Certainly, if you're just touching up little spots, it's like the Lazy Man's tool. These Gundam markers are similar paint markers. Figure that because they're for plastic models, this would be acceptable. Hey, I'm not a bot. Yeah, I know you're not, Jartza. But some of those other people, I mean, they lurk, and it's like, okay, are they lurking or are they a bot? I mean, I don't see their names in the lists of bots. Actually, I haven't checked some of those people. But you're just catching up. Ah, missed an honor badge right there. So he's got an honor badge in the back that I'll be painting. Yeah, in Space Crusade, they just go to the commander. These other guys are more expendable. Aha! Tally-ho! I'll save you now. Sorry. Just got into it for a second there. Okay, here's where the blue tack comes in. I guess blue tack was the original trademark product, and then everybody copied it. Sticky tack, poster putty, silly tack. Not silly putty, that's a different product. And so on. Let's wrap that around. It's a little less conspicuous, especially on camera. It's like when you watch the making of Star Wars and they've got like electrical tape wrapped around stuff and everything's just kind of held together by chicken wire and good intentions. And when you put it into HD, you start to see those flaws. But before that, when it was just on film or on video, it was perfect. It looked real. You could suspend disbelief. It didn't look like actors on a set. It looked like you were really in outer space, viewing the adventures of another world. Now, see, he's not lifting his leg as dramatically. Is that right? Maybe I had the pose right this time. Let's see. Still looks like he's taking off in flight. He's doing like a Transformers pose. Like he has rocket boots or something. Or his backpack isn't just like giving him power or oxygen, it's actually letting him fly. Like the Rocketeer, like Boba Fett. Ha! Silly putty works for masking off parts of a model. Thank you, Jacer J, and welcome to the stream. So Jacer, I was going to play Hero Quest, but nobody showed, which I kind of figured they wouldn't because originally I said no streams, so nobody knew about it until the last minute, and it was like, well, I'll just do some hobby work. So, did you want to try to do part of a quest? I mean, it would just be you and me so far. Or I could keep working on these. I mean, I've just been working on my my Space Marines for Space Crusade. So I got a few of them done. I got these two guys lifting their legs. They look like a couple of figure skaters. There we go. Just got home myself. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so this is Hero Quest fans. We're listening to Carl Casey White Bat Audio. Just showing off some of the ones that I've completed here. Just the commanders and things. Basically, I'm trying to do each figure in each color so you can start to see, like, getting them all done. Because there's 5 on each sprue, and it's just the same, like, 5 guys, and they've got the same weapons, except for the commander. He's got a different pistol. Actually, there's an alternate, so you can give him the same weapon everybody else does. But Space Crusade does the similar thing to 40k, where they're supposed to have the weapon in their hand is what you give them. It's not like Hero Quest where you can just say it's anything. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but that's what the game tells you to do. All right, so we'll set these guys aside, and then let's do one of the yellow guys, one of the Imperial Fists. Yeah, if you were watching me do the Necrons on screen, that would be an exercise in frustration. Those were something else. When I was working on them, they were pretty tough. Yeah, I do have it saved up on the app, but I mean, it's all the heroes. It's all of us. Yeah, because I'd have to like clear my table and do that, but if we played on the app, it would just be like right where we left off. So like, I think I've got it even queued up even. If I could be any more redundant. Yep, there it is. But I mean, if you'd rather wait until we have more people, because it'd be us controlling multiple heroes. Let's see. Okay, so we're doing number 2 here. So here's the sprue for the Imperial Fists. So once again, getting the hang. It's like I get the hang of it, and then it's time to move on to the next one. So we want 22, leg 22. Got that piece there. And torso 21. Sounds like the audio quit on me. Let me just restart it. That's YouTube for you. Okay, Jacer says, if it's quicker on the app, I'll take the knight, and you can do the rogue and pick a second. Okay. So you'll take the knight, and I would take the rogue and the alchemist and the barbarian. So I'd be controlling 3 heroes. I mean, I can do that if you want. We can just coordinate our actions. Sure, man. We can do that. Let me just finish clipping this one out that I just finished here. It's working on. I'll at least get the pieces out. I know I can work on this anytime. But, so Jacer, do you have your own dice tonight? Body 23. Oh, you'll take whatever one's left. Yeah, you did say that. Sorry. I mean, if you want to take the combat guys, well, I guess the rogue is still a combat guy, but I mean, I could do the rogue and the alchemist. And if you want to do the barbarian and the knight. Does that sound cool, or do you want to do the magic? Kind of quiet. Oh, kind of quiet. Okay, on your end. I get it. Yeah, I can roll for you. So I came up with this way that we can have see everybody's dice. Is that in Discord we'll just share the video, like so you can share your screen or share your webcam and do it. But I'll roll for you this time. It's no big deal. I'm used to doing that anyway. Okay, so head 24. get the arm and the leg, or I mean the arm and the gun arm. Oh yeah, this is the one that I did the really poorly done decal. I mean, it was an old decal, and it's a curved surface, and it's ultra matte or ultra gloss. I keep wanting to say ultra matte. Ultra matte just sounds fun. I am ultra matte. I'm gonna take my clothes to the ultra matte to get them really, really clean. Now this is ultra gloss, and so all those factors plus my inexperience led to catastrophic damage. I ruined one. I tried again and I ripped that one too, but I was able to kind of salvage it a little bit. So that's how that went. Okay, so sword 25. Let me just cut this one out, and I'll assemble it. I'll assemble it later. But you and I can play some Hero Quest. Get a little bit farther in the quest, because I mean we're not getting started. It's like 8:30 already here in my local time. Okay, I'll just clean that up later. Put that to the side for now. All right. Okay, so it'll be the Knight and the Barbarian. And I'm going to stop the stream and restart it with the app going. So thanks, everybody. This stream will end, and we'll start another one in a couple minutes here. Thanks for your patience. All right. Sorry, guys. Let me stop the stream, and I'll be right back.